ну тебе немножко. Подожди, він не хоче він так. Він мене українською мовою пише, тому я з ним теж з українською мовою. Щас. А ты сегодня тоже работаешь? Или сегодня так?
Сегодня нет.
Слава богу.
Да.
Блин, ну можно тебе поставить, а? Что такое? Ладно, слушай. Без этого, без микрофона, потому что это выдержать здоровому человеку невозможно. А такому нездоровому, как я, так вообще. Так, ладно. Все. А ты можешь это помягче, можешь его поставить туда все. Hi. Okay, like a yogi. So, hi. Yeah, let's kill myself just before we begin. And we found out about aura. So, hello again. This is Expansion Wellness Online University. We have weekly classes on Saturdays, and Saturdays 4 p.m. Central Time, Central CST. We meet sometimes with different people, sometimes with spirits. It's a joke, and we meet to discuss different topics. Like for instance, today we continue our communication topic, and the next time we are thinking about pyramids, talking about energy of pyramids and their like hidden powers that people don't know about, or maybe not many people know about. And further away, I would like to do classes on physics and energy, like how it corresponds together. So kind of exploring different things. Today we are talking about communication, and thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have people to talk to, because online you can use all your imagination you like. It's still different. I mean, I don't know if you have had a chance to watch classes online that we did, but I no.
But I will.
No, I'm just curious to see the difference, because for me, I think it's still different when you're present in the class.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No question about it.
So we'll talk about communication. And since we try to combine the idea is to combine spirituality and science, today we'll talk more about energy, and because we already covered communication from the medical standpoint, previous steps. But we'll talk about energy, yoga, how it works, and just day-to-day life, and we'll practice. So, what is, like we talked a little bit before, that not many people know about aura as a magnetic field, right? So that probably would be a good start to explain. As maybe if someone's seen this before, previously we discussed that people are perceiving each other through their energy, right? So sometimes you like a person for no reason, and sometimes you dislike a person for no reason. Like even before the person starts saying anything, right? Like for instance with me, no?
Yeah, and I start thinking about animals.
Right.
Some animals.
Like the smell they get this smell.
I don't know. Some animals, like nice animals, like dogs, dislike some person, and no matter what, they just like bark and try to bite. It's that person that did nothing to them, and they're okay with other people. So maybe it's the same thing.
Yes, they perceive your energy. That's for sure. Dogs it's actually a great example. Dogs are a great example of knowing through energy and communication through energy. And we get caught up into words sometimes, and I often hear it from us and sometimes from clients that, oh, but he said that, oh, but he said that, and I hear that so many times, and I keep telling people that you should stop thinking in the way that perceives words as that's what they mean, really. In fact, if you take little children, they never mean what they say, right? Like, we know that if a little kid is like like really like capricious or crying and doesn't really know what he or she wants, we know that the kid is just sleepy, right? We just put kid to sleep and that's it. It solves the problem. But if we start like trying to trace the words he or she is saying, we would go crazy, right? So it's basically the same thing. Like words are not words are very important, but words that used with intention, these words are important. But sometimes you can just see the words as indicators of another person's problems. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and there are lots of examples like that. So you can spend hours bringing examples. But especially words between female and male, between partners, in the heat of the moment, it's usually never really about the words, but it's actually about much deeper reason than that. So, how do we resolve this problem? Right? We'll take it as a problem. How do we resolve the issue of being like indirect or being not understood, misunderstood, or conveying something different, right? So before we speak, we want to be really clear of what we want to speak, but sometimes previously I've talked about chakras, how we speak from the chakras. So if we speak from the center, the energy center that doesn't respond with the energy center of another person, we can say whatever we say, it's not going to be conveyed because it's just not received by the person. And vice versa. If you're saying nasty things and you're saying it with kindness, or you want to make a joke about it, people would understand that it's a joke. So it's all way beyond the words, right? Or how we say it. But what about aura? So the aura is our magnetic field. It's something that we feel the presence. It's like people who go to church, for instance, they feel the energy, they go there for energy, besides other things, right? People who go to meditation, or people who do meditation, they perceive that inner stillness, inner peace. That's what they're searching for oftentimes. And that's also energy, right? Every thought has energy. Every emotion has energy. Every eyesight, we can heal with eyesight, like with looking at someone. So basically, whatever motion we do, it has energy. And that energy is always reflected in our overall magnetic field, called aura. That's why I was talking about it, but that's why it's very important to really imagine yourself. Like if you ever heard about these positive affirmations, right? Like I'm this, I'm that. Like you already have it. The power of yes. All this very like outgoing affirmations. Like it's going to be great. The power of yes. We're gonna make it. Yes, you can do this, right? All these affirmations. It actually has this energy of implemented into your aura, like enhancing your magnetic field, because your magnetic field is like it's like what do you call like reflection paper, right? It reflects everything that's going on with you. So if you're negative, if you're thinking about something, like the dogs will know that. So your aura will reflect that. Or sometimes someone bites your energy field. Some people try to steal your energy. That also is reflected in your aura. They can only do it when your aura is not whole, or if you let them take energy from you somehow. Like for instance, today I had an experience. I could clearly feel that the person was trying to steal my energy, and it did happen for a moment, but until I realized what was going on. And then you just have to deal with it, right? You have to patch it. Go ahead.
Question?
That's why we're here.
I had that question. I was wondering, like, I knew that it can steal other people's energy.
Yes.
Sometimes directly, like they want to do it. Sometimes not even knowing what's going on, it's just the way they do.
Yeah.
How to protect yourself from somebody sucking up your energy?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm sure lots of people will benefit. Thank you. So, first and foremost, no one ever can steal anything from you unless you give it, unless you give the permission. So, as soon as you think that someone is more powerful than you or someone can steal that from you, it's going to happen one way or another. So, the best thing to protect yourself is to simply deny the permission. So, the example I did today with this person, I simply said aloud, because aloud has more power into the manifestation when you say it aloud. Just make sure there are no more strange people around you and you're looking at you. So I just said, I deny your power to take my energy. I do not want to share my energy with you, and I do not want to give my energy to you. This is not what serves me. You can use any words. That's something like some sort of what I did today.
Like vocalize it?
Yes, say it out loud. And you say it, if you need to say it several times to believe it, because sometimes when you just start saying, you might hesitate. But you really have to mean it, because you just don't give permission. And you can say after that, you can say, I take my power back. This is my power, I'm not giving this power to you. I'm taking my power back. When I choose to, I'll share it with you. When I choose to do that.
Okay, we'll practice that.
Okay, let me know. It will be very interesting, because it sounds very simple, but basically, no one ever can take anything from us unless we subside. And it's this energy game forever. But we are born with all this tool set. We have it with us. Only our own willpower, or only our own will can give a tool to someone else, basically. The same thing with going to psychics or going to someone for help, right? It's when you are willingly giving them the permission, right? Like no healing process will start unless you give the permission to another person. Or that person that you, even if it's like long distance, it has to be like, there has to be permission. Because otherwise, different things can happen, but not what you want to happen, basically. So the same thing with someone trying to steal your power. You just have to, absolutely. You just have to remember that you have all that in you. You have that strength, and it's your discretion if you want to share or not.
Maybe just remind yourself time to time that you have all the power, even if you feel weak sometimes.
Exactly.
You're just forgetting you have that power.
Yes, that's why a lot of people, a lot of like coaches, they advise when you wake up, before you begin your day, before you set yourself, whether you do meditation, whether you do work, whatever you do, but you all have to remind yourself that you are the most powerful person for yourself. Whatever wording you choose, you remind yourself that you are the most powerful, the most knowledgeable, the most capable for yourself. And only if you choose to share, and you choose whom to share with, that's when the sharing happens. Otherwise, that's your discretion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that would take care of a lot of people in your life. Which is not the bad thing. Sometimes I don't believe that concept that you have to lose someone, you have to, cut certain people, all this from this negative, this from this. No, everyone needs help. Everyone who brings trouble, they just need help themselves. Basically, you just have to shift the type of relationship you're having with them, if you want to continue the relationship. And that's all. But yeah, that's just have to flip the coin somehow. That's all. So that's aura, that's contained and that protects us. But besides that protection function that we just discussed, aura is also projecting. That's what the dogs perceive, that's what we all perceive, that's what people perceive when they're reading the book. They're reading the energy that the author is putting in the book. If there is nothing, the book is not it's not going through basically, right, to the reader. Of course, they have to be tuned somehow to read it, but usually it's not really, it just doesn't go together. Are you okay? You cold? And it's not working anymore. But actually, aura stays with us until we die, so that's a good thing. It helps with a lot of things. So, for instance, people who kind of are interested in auras, they can see different qualities of the aura. They can see if there is sickness. They can see if the person is sincere. They can see how the person is feeling generally, or they can receive a lot of information through aura. So that is projective part of aura, of the field. And whatever you want to project, the other person will perceive. Okay.
Okay. The other person, so it's like feeling. You feel when you perceive, and you feel.
That would be my question. How do you perceive usually?
I feel inside. It's
Okay.
I call it intuition.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how what's the real name, but it's
Like
I
inner
know inside.
Right.
Not with logic.
Yeah.
Not with eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
You just know it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you would perceive. Because the first step is to really know yourself, right? It's to know how you're actually perceiving the information. Because some people are more visual and they will see colors, like you haven't seen her here, but this friend of mine, Julia, she sees with colors, she perceives colors, and I don't see why she would force herself trying different techniques, right? Because it's easier for her. For you, it's the knowing. For someone else it's hearing. For me, it would be scary if someone starts whispering in my ear. So, so it's really up to the person, how they really perceive the information, or whatever they perceive. Visual.
I thought it's the same thing for everybody. I didn't know that.
That it might be, but it's actually, yes, we all hear, we all can see, we all can have all these senses, right? Smell. Like sometimes I receive smells, which is interesting. So, but it's what we are more inclined towards. Like for instance, if you like taste, you would perceive through taste. Sometimes the taste would just emerge in you, and you would taste something, and you're like, I want watermelon. So, or some other times you would be hearing more than. It really depends on what you're more inclined. Like for instance, some people they like running, prefer jogging to bicycling or working out at the gym, so they would be more inclined to that activity. The same thing with senses, like you prefer other senses, so they will be dominant. But if you prefer different senses, those senses will be more applicable. So that's how we perceive, right? It's really interesting because when you start breaking everything down, it becomes really like bundled and complicated, right? But in life, it all happens like in 1 second, like with the intuition, with the knowing, with when someone enters the room, the whole information is read immediately. Maybe we don't really realize that with each other, and that's what we want to learn. We want to learn to project what we really want to communicate, right? Because we might be misunderstood, we might misunderstand, and it creates so much confusion. And it's great that so many people they can make movies out of that. But sometimes we don't want to live in a thriller all the time, right? We want to live in something nice and more or less predictable or pleasantly surprising. Let's put it this way. Even though every surprise can be turned into negative or positive. Again, depending on your intention and how you want to shift it. Like every relationship can be drowned, or can be brought up and serve something. It's also up to us and how you want to use your power in that.
Okay, so how to...
I got you interested.
Yeah.
So how we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I prepared an exercise actually. I'm really glad you came because I wanted to practice and show how it works.
Guinea pig.
Well, maybe I will be your guinea pig. See, it's how you put it. So let's see. Let's close our eyes first. And you too. You're anyone there now? Actually, no. Anyway, you cannot see anything. Let's sit up straight and close our eyes. Roll your shoulders back and down. So that will free your neck. Tuck your chin slightly in. And really concentrate on your heart center. This is when we want the power to come from, fueled by the solar plexus. We want to relax completely and just feel how we feel in that state. Maybe you have certain associations with that state. Maybe you want to memorize it, how it feels. Maybe you want to release any heaviness in your body. Good. And now take a deep breath in. It's the easiest to affect it with the breath. And exhale and bring your shoulders forward and down and keep them forward and down and bend your spine back and lower your head down. So you basically you're just bending back and stay like this. Breathe freely. First of all, notice how you're breathing in this position. And feel how you feel in this state. Now inhale, stretch your spine. Again, bring it back, shoulders down, tuck your chin in, open. And now say something very assertive. Say like, I'm the queen. Say it out loud.
I'm the queen.
Yeah, okay. Now, lower it down, bring it down, and say it again.
I'm the queen.
See, tell me, did you feel the difference?
Yeah, second time it even didn't go through my throat.
Right?
Because it was, nah.
Yeah, like you don't believe what you say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how such a simple thing as posture changes how you perceive yourself, and more importantly, no, not more importantly, like even more so how people perceive you. So, for instance, if you come to me and tell me, Natasha, I'm the queen, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm glad you have the guts to say that. You know, but would you believe that yourself, right? And how would it, and if you come and you're like, I'm the queen, you know. And I'm like, oh, alright, welcome to the club. So that makes a lot of difference, right? So when you walk, you want to be straight, you want to open, you want to project. Do you want to project your misery or you want to project your happiness? If you project your happiness, you eventually become happy, even if you're not happy. So basically, it fills the void. Like you have the calling, you have something empty, and it will be filled by what you're calling for. So even if you don't feel like a queen at this particular second, you call for it, it will come. It will fill that void. Okay?
Yeah, it's like holding up yourself.
Yes. Yes. So basically, now you maybe see, and you may be able to see more connection between physical, spiritual practice and how it's applicable in life, right? That's why I want to be more flexible, because the energy flows. We want to be more straight because the channels are open, and we want to do something with the breath because we want to clear something up. Also, an interesting point. So why do we want to clear ourselves up? The same reason why we want to take shower in the morning or in the evening. I don't know when you take showers, that's personal. But the same thing why we want to clear with the breath, with the energy, because our aura contains all the memories that we're carrying unless we take care of that. And again, here, this is where the free will is coming into play, because you can choose which reality you relate to. And that's why, I really support this movement, like Me Too, all that kind of stuff. I really I feel compassion towards those people, women, and I support all the movements, but I don't believe energy-wise, it doesn't serve them, because they kind of start, maybe it's good to release at some point, but it starts like it's like a turmoil, and it keeps boiling and boiling and boiling. It only boils anger. The same thing like when some countries are becoming overly nationalistic or overly protective. It's a great quality to have to a certain point, right? And afterwards, look at what happened with Germany during World War II, right? It became overly nationalistic, and it didn't serve anyone, for sure. So, and we don't want to choose a reality that doesn't serve us. So you can choose the reality with all that, or you can choose the reality when you neglect that. You may acknowledge that, like we all have some past experiences, right? And it's our choice whether we want to carry those experiences or not, right? Do we want to feel miserable? Do we want to feel abused? Do we want to feel like that every second of our life? No. I choose to, at this particular moment, at this second, to be clean and clear and open and omnipotent and be able to do everything. And I choose for every person to feel the same way. But it's the choice of the people, right? So, so that's the thing, the aura. Aura remembers. And the first step to do that, and if aura remembers, the other person will perceive that. Like some people, do you know some people that when they say like, someone always takes advantage of me. Someone, like they're always victims. And I'm not being like, I'm being neutral. I'm just like playing that part, right? So, for instance, things happen to that person all the time. And why is that? Because that person carries that impulse that other people or energies, they perceive it like an invitation. It's like a pattern, the same thing. It's a pattern to continue. And not many people are so conscious, not many people will be like...
I agree, because I think I was in that situation myself without knowing it. And of course bad thing can happen to anybody, but and they continue, and then you struggle and you don't want. But after years I learned, and it took years to get yourself out of it.
Right.
But now I can see that, and now I can see it in other people.
Yes.
And can I talk?
Please.
Like interesting example. I had a friend, acquaintance, that I had to. It wasn't close friend. It was just acquaintance, but I had to meet with him more than with my best friends because of work. We had to meet like not my regular work, but my performance work. It's just like 1 hour a day, 3 days a week, let's say. 2 days a week or 3 days a week, every week, let's say for a year. And every time, of course, we talk with friends, and every time he put on me like all his troubles, all his problems with other people, complaining. And of course, you feel for your friend, and you give him some advices, so you're just saying something nice. But after a while, you see that no advices are taken, and it's not the reason they put it on you. You just like a toilet.
A sponge.
Yeah, it feels good for them to put that on you, but they don't change anything. They keep going the same way. So I took myself finally out of that, and whatever people like that decide, it's their life. If they don't see it, then whatever. So yeah, it's a perfect example.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
So yeah, back to a victim mode. Yeah, I can relate to that, and I'm staying more and more out of it.
Wonderful. But see, you said it took you years, right?
Oh yeah.
But when you become really conscious, that's what I really want children to learn at school, even, if they don't learn from their parents, is to really be able to relate every moment. There is a very important message and power behind the words when they say live in the moment. Because when you live in the moment, this particular moment, you choose who you want to be. You choose whether you want to be in pain, or whether you want to be healthy, whether you want to be victim, or whether you want to be a perfect person. It's really your choice. But sometimes people don't have strength to do that. That's why it's important to have upkeep, like a practice, right? We need to clear our aura. We need to clear our field. It's like, for instance, like someone is really, really dirty, right? Hasn't had a bath for like months, right? And they're trying to do something, scratch their arm and something to clean it up a little. And then it's like, it's great, but your whole body is really dirty, so what are you gonna do? So that's why it's better to be prepared and be able to have these tools handy, right? Because I'm sure you have the same experience. You meet so many crazy people so often. It's like, and you can tell they're crazy. I mean, you can just it's there. What do you do with that, right? If you don't have tools, yes, you can withdraw, but that's not the solution, because they'll find you, but also we genuinely want to help people, right? Because if you can help, if you can just hold the space for the person, which I'll talk about later, how to hold the space, then you can help. And that person, because that person, they don't even see what's going on, right? Until they start, then they have more space. They start feeling that, relax more, having more like spacious observation state, and then start realizing what's happening. Like with you said you had this consciousness before. It took you space to create. It took you time and space to create that awareness that you became bigger than your problem, right? So the same for the people who we meet. They have to become bigger than their problem. When they give the power to the problem to that extent that it overpowers them, then they didn't see anything, and they didn't even realize that. But in order to do that, we have to know who we are. If we don't feel who we are, how can we differentiate us from our problems, right? We have to somehow be able to do that. But I can have a lot of classes on that. But the tool we're talking today about is aura. So the aura is something that reflects everything. All the problems, all the blessings, all the experiences that the person had, it's like a book. So we want to clear that. And when we communicate, we want to convey something to the person, the other people they receive. And often when, like this very famous book, the Course of Miracles, for instance, the miracles, they are created by you communicating that with the universe. So when we communicate it correctly with their energy, then it responds and then people respond. You meet. How do we meet the right people, right? How do we meet people, or how we create something beautiful out of relationship with everyone? It's really our choice whether we want to create something amazing, or whether we want to withdraw and just hide, and whether we want to abuse another person. It's really our choice, right? How we want to deal with the relationship. Whether we want a temporary superiority because we have our own issues, that require us to do that for some reason at this moment, or whether we can be balanced, whether we know our worth and we perceive another person equally important, and we create a valuable relationship, right? Why not? I mean, we're here on this earth together, so why don't take opportunity and do something great and fun together, rather than taking advantage or whatever, right?
That's beautiful. Said, yeah.
You wanted to say anything?
No. I just said it's beautiful said.
Thank you. Thanks. I hope we can live that. Well, we do live that. It's our choice, being in the moment, and it's so easy. You can just remind yourself, I am in the moment. At this moment I choose this and this. It's very easy. But with this, you give yourself command, and your aura starts reflecting that. So you want to cleanse your aura, being outside, hugging the trees. It's a great energy technique, and it's also very beneficial for the trees and for you. But it's cleaning, it's rebalancing, because we all resonate with magnetic field of the earth. We came to this planet, we came in resonance. We walk on the earth because we resonate, right? We are pulled to the earth with the gravity. So we use all those tools, being outside, it resets us to who we are. Working with nature, it resets us, it connects us with nature, because the more we detach from nature, the more we become on our own path, and nature does its own thing. It's not going to be good in the long run, for anyone. So we want to be the same creation, right? And you will always have this inner knowing who you are. And when you have that, you will be okay in any situation, in any relationship. And in fact, you will attract situations that you wish to attract. And sometimes it's nice to surrender, to lose control and just let things happen to you. But it's good, because when you surrender to God or higher power, when you have a high frequency, and then the surrender is really beautiful, rather than other types of surrender. So that's with aura. So for instance, when you communicate with someone, you can see what they're saying without even hearing what they're saying. And moreover, we don't even hear half of the words people say. Anyway, so it's really how we communicate, how we create. We want to create a vision in that person. You want to project. You want to, when you're talking on the phone, whether you are really into conversation, into that person, where you're tapping into the energy, or you are doing completely different thing, and the person would feel it. Would you usually feel it on the phone when someone is engaged?
Of course.
So, see, that's the brightest example how the energy works, because you will know when a person is into you on the phone, or whether a person is just like, yeah, okay, that kind of stuff. So how do we want to do that? Our aura contains everything, but also contains all these energy centers called chakras. So when we want to be perceived, we want our center of the more grounded centers be balanced, but also all centers be balanced, of course. So everyday practice, every morning and before going to bed, because we want to go to bed with a very nice, clean mind, without having watched all these horror movies or news. Don't watch news before going to bed, because it's not going to be good. Maybe you want to set up your dream. You want to dream of something, or ask for guidance, and go to bed with that sense. And we want to wake up before we start dealing with the day We want to really set ourselves and our boundaries, and we want to set up ourselves in the day. What we really dream of, what we want to do, despite the barriers or something seeming to be impossible. There is even meditations called to turn impossible into possible. Like there is nothing like obstacles is just how we perceive that, right? So very important to devote the time, morning and evening, to do something for yourself. And I'm not advocating to do yoga, which is great, or anything, but I'm advocating for you to pay attention. When you pay attention to your mind, to your awareness, like just this simple exercise we did with this, it brings you to your awareness in inner self. We want to be aware of your body, of our bodies. We want to be in contact with our body. We want all of this to be a team rather than catch it later and not knowing what to do with it and how to cure it. Right? We want us to be one balanced, perfect team that plays in this playground of life. So, for instance, you wake up and you're like thinking, oh, hello leg, hello arm, whatever. You connect with yourself. You be in your body. Do something for yourself. Different people need different things. Like there are people who need a lot of aerobic exercise because they need, like I need a lot of aerobic movement because I like them. My energy type likes breath movement, energy movement. That's why I like Kundalini, because there are so many very fast breathing techniques. So they get you there beyond running in the park all the time. But basically that's what works for me. For other people, they would prefer being more like into the, meditate, like more like maybe even like chanting, or more like stretching, more doing something different, whatever gives you energy. So for instance, if a person is hyper all the time, they need something cooling, right? If the person is very, very cool, they need something more energizing. So it really depends what works for you. But you have to devote this time every day, and that will set you off on the path.
How long?
Well, it's up to you, really. It's really how efficiently you want to do it. But they say in yoga that it takes 40 days to establish a habit. So your mind will start responding and memorizing how you feel. But I think even after the first day, if you do it really, really well, after the first day you will have the memory, and the next day you will just put on that memory and you will engage it. And then during the day, in any situation, you step back and you engage that sense of yourself and you deal with that from that state, rather than dealing from the state of being irritated or provoked or whatever, right? We don't know that.
And I mean, how long that process of doing something?
Again, it's personal, so it has to be what works for you. So for some people, it has to be an hour. For some people, it's 5 minutes. For some people, it's 15 minutes. Like there are some very energized people. They need 2 hours of very intense movement. Otherwise, they will still not be fully engaged. So
Just listen to yourself, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You have to realize what you feel, what you need. And it's also nice to have a journal. To journal your experience and remember, because sometimes we fall back and fall somewhere. And it's good your journal will be your best teacher and your best friend, because it will remind you of the experiences. And sometimes we just don't keep everything in our head or our mind, right? And the journal will be your coach. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, you answered my questions. Wow, I got my lesson today.
Okay.
Which is great. I wouldn't think about that. to remind yourself that you're in charge of your life.
Yes.
And you can, like you said, you're the one that can do anything to your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And well, it's like it's easy, yeah, but you never remember. I mean, and you never think about that. But now I know, and I will keep reminding myself.
Right? It resonates really well with you when you
Yes.
when you know that you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. And then slowly and gradually,
Or quickly.
whatever,
Yeah.
you can fix your life.
Absolutely. Yes. Your energy will fix your life. You know there is extensive way and intensive way, and your energy is an intensive way. When you're cured from inside, and your energy, your aura changes, everything changes. People will start to react differently to you. Circumstances will change, events change, different things happen, different people will be on your way, on your path. Or those people that you know will become different people with you. So that's the way I like it. It's when you have it really like starting here, and then everything else is.
So this is the opposite of being victim.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think I got in the right place at the right time.
Here you go.
Not even knowing that I need that answer, and
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. Well, yes. When we look, seek, and you'll find it, right? That's what they say. And maybe your aura was having that question in you.
So thank you very much for that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. It's a really pleasure to share, and I hope we can, with someone, share this with, because I think there's lots of victims, and I know a lot of teachers, a lot of people, they don't appreciate me saying that when, because I just don't recognize that, and it sounds crude and it sounds cruel, but it's actually not, because I don't wish to anyone anything that I wouldn't wish for myself, right? I don't wish to acknowledge painful experiences if I don't want them. I forgive people, I know my lessons, I learn my lessons, but I choose what I'm taking with me. And I want those people to take something, what they want to take with them, and not carry all that baggage of experiences, that they've had. I wish, hopefully this will help, and hopefully their energy will respond some of the space, but I really wish all those victims, they would know that.
So after a while also I realized that even if you want to help somebody based on your own experience and on knowledge, and you know that person doesn't have experience, knowledge, and he or she just blind and suffering, and you want to help it, and you dragging. I'm just not really dragging, but I mean with like helping, telling them what to do some other way, and they're not doing it. They will be rejecting it because they have to learn their lesson.
Yes, but again, you can learn hard way, and you don't have to learn hard way.
Yes, but it's their choice.
Yeah, and what we need to do is we need to somehow make them aware of their choice, that they have a choice, because so people don't even know that they have that, right?
Okay, yeah, that's you're right. That's the only thing. Like you can give a book, knowledge them.
Yeah, and then they choose. But you did your job. That's helpful already. That's helpful. But as long as we try, and as long, maybe we just need to communicate more clearly sometimes, because we really eager to help, and then we think we are doing that. We're pushing them, and they're like pushing us more. But maybe we just calmly say them that this is your choice. Maybe I have the tools, but this is for you to choose. Just to vocalize that for them, and then they will just become more aware. Sometimes people need. Sometimes it's needed to shift, like to shift. That's like it needs to be in a state of shock for a person, or it needs to be a state of compassionate embrace. Like for instance, one time I've been dealing with a very imbalanced person, and And at some point, very quickly, I realized that it does. I don't want to waste my words on her. That was her. So what I did, all I did, I was just standing next to her, and very, very balanced, very, very calm, and very neutral. And I was holding this space for her, and I was holding a lot of compassion for her, like feeling a lot of compassion and not saying anything, just being in that space. And she was very close, standing close to me, and because when we started talking, it was not good. So I was just quiet and like very, very centered. And after a couple of minutes, I said, "It was very nice to see you," and I left. And I thought I like closed my gestalt, like closed my experience, and that was it. And a few hours later, she texted me saying that thank you for giving me such a healing experience. And she opened up in many wonderful ways, and she felt it. But at that point, that's all that was needed, because it's a state of shock for someone who is very turbulent, very like boiling. For them, it's like a shock of cold water. Basically, you're holding the space, being very calm and embracing her or him or whatever we eat, but not like involving in that, right? Mm-hmm. Because, or if someone is very melancholic and depressive, then maybe they would need a different sense of shock. Maybe they need a slap in the face. That figuratively, or who knows. But the different sense of shock. Mm-hmm. So you just have to find a way. Like they say, when someone doesn't understand what you teach, that's really your problem. You don't know how to teach the person. And rather you don't connect. You need to connect and find a way to do that. And because it's easy to blame a student, but but it's really but you are the one holding the knowledge. You are the one holding the tools, right? And knowing the tools. So you need to find the way how to do it. Use your creativity. Be creative. Right. I know. I'm kidding. It's my favorite phrase. Well, hopefully this will help, and I pray this experience will be spread and shared. And if you can share with someone, I'm not saying like share the club, whatever, but just share what you learned, be creative. And if you guys, whoever watches that now or later, can share that, this will be the biggest reward, and this will be amazing, and I'll get a few points in my karma, and you'll get a few points in yours. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope it's recorded, because that would be fun.